So I wanted to do this last video on the new motor. I'm calling it the GONZO Jr. Just because what is it? Yeah, the other one, the bigger one that we want to put up against the Lord of Bass 400 ounce. That's the bigger one, and then this is basically a miniature version. It uses quad stack by 20 millimeter thick. By 190 millimeter diameter, standard 3-inch, good for 8 layer, or chubby 4 layer, depending on what you use. And then bolts. Earn your bolts, brother. That's an old joke, and I worked it into a movie, and I don't want to explain it right now. But the patterns that I ended up having them do was, and I gotta double check these. These look a little bit off, but it should have been the 5-inch pattern, which is standard 127 millimeter, and then the new pattern that's on the new TI frames that you're seeing from Lord of Bass, which is 135 millimeter. That's Scott Atwell's work, who owns or started Phi. He used to work at used to own half of RE Audio. So, and then I added the 160 millimeter pattern, these are the two standards that I use, which is the 127 and the 160. And so then I added Scott's in there just to, because I saw these frames coming, like these are going to be around for a while, so we need to solve these problems. So I actually do like the chrome, and probably the first batch that we get, we'll do these. I did want to do these on pre-sale. The factory is like, when are you going to place an order? When are you going to place an order? I don't have any fucking money. We can do a pre-sale on these for 150 shipped. I want to do something on Google Docs so that it can be like a public, so everybody knows. Like I don't want it just to be me, even though we did that before on the amps, the Brazilians, when I first got those over. So, but this is a really stout motor, and I really like it. I already shipped this is Mr. McCartney's. Let me grab this. This is the Def Fonts from David, which also fits. But I'll post the gap dims that we're going with. I want to go a little bit bigger on the ID of the washer. This is a 20 millimeter thick top plate. Let me look at see the bottom. Yeah, the bottom's really thick, like that. That's a good 15 millimeter, and then there's some meat in between. Vented around the gap, vented in the pole piece. I'm pretty sure that it's standard for them to vent the side of the T-yoke, the pillar. But this is going to Mr. McCartney. He actually was like, gimme. I was like, all right, man, that's cool. Because I really just wanted to make this video and just study it and make sure it turned out really good. They zapped fine. I did double saturation on it. It's good. But other than that, that's what I'm like. I don't want to import something, these guys. This is just too much fucking money, dude. And everybody wants this, but nobody wants to pay for this. That's the problem with this big guy. This is the 600 ounce from Lord of Bass. So I wanted to bring this first, was this little guy. So plus the other thing is that when I do bring in the quad stack version of the 400 ounce, it'll be more than 400 ounces of the Lord of Bass motor. It's duplicate SKU. See, so I buy from Lord of Bass as well, and so if I'm importing those, like, it's kind of a waste, is what I'm saying. This is something that nobody has that I've seen. It looks a lot like a 3 HP, but it's definitely not. It's definitely bigger, and I want it to be affordable. And so I think, yeah, Josh. I was gonna say JP. This is Josh Pastrana. Josh Pastrana was buying the 3 HPs direct from Parts Express, I think, for $154 back when TC Sounds folded and blew out some of that stuff through Parts Express. So $150 for this guy. And then what I want to do later is do a black version as well, and then actually offer both colors. So, and then we'll do the black color probably through the new Replicant brand. So, but let's see what else. Oh, sorry for my voice. I got a little bit of laryngitis. earlier I made a froggy joke. Like, the problem is I'm old, and so people wouldn't get it. There used to be a character on Little Rascals, which is not even called Little Rascals. It's called like something the gang or whatever. Anyways, one of the characters on there is named Froggy, and because he sounds like he's got a frog in his throat. So, anyways, but yeah, this one we would definitely rate at like, oh, that's what it would compare to. It's like an MT. Yeah, the RE Audio MT. That's about what this would compare to. So, and those fuckers were pretty expensive. So we can do $150 shipped on these. I think the minimum on those is 100 pieces. So it's going to be a nice chunk of change. But basically, we're just doing a Kickstarter. I don't need to pay Kickstarter any money. I can do this. I'm trustworthy. I can hook you up with a bunch of stuff. And then, of course, we'll do the Mac top assembly, removable top assemblies. And I want to get the factory to actually make the top assemblies for me. And they said basically they can make anything I want as long as I order enough pieces, which they're doing a really low MOQ on me for only 100 pieces. I'm like, that's fine. That's all I need. And, you know, they give bigger price breaks if you order more. But I'm like, I just want to make this affordable and fun and non-branded so that you guys can basically resell over and over again. So I still find woofers that I made 10 years ago in pawn shops and all that kind of stuff. And I love buying them up for cheap because they don't say anything on them. So it's really one of those things where if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. And I think because of the flood right now of product, and especially what, who is it? What's that brand? It's not Renegade. Rockville, which I think is a dumb name. Sorry, Rockville. I'm sure it's like Rockville, New York, or something. Because it almost sounds like a pun that my mom would come up with. You know, like this town rocks. We built this city. You know, like on Rockville. You know, that's what it sounds like. Anyways, sorry for your dumb name, but you guys had that hiccup in manufacturing where your sub didn't handle the power, and that was because the magnets either weren't saturated properly or the material that the factory used, they did like maybe a bait and switch, and that was the case that we were worried about, especially manufacturing when the owners now, MD Audio, that owns the Orion brand, when they came out with the first HCCA, that motor was so large it looked like a cartoon. You're like, this is too large, like this is crazy. And I was like, and especially at the prices that they were selling, and I was like, how are they doing this? And I was like, oh, they're probably using not as great a quality of ferrite. So it's for looks. And you've seen that before on, like we talked about it on the, I think it's the AG series, which is gold. The gold series, AG is the element initials for gold. Anyways, from Wolfram, and also a couple other companies that were using the TI frame for marketing purposes rather than functional purposes, and they just use a short coil. So there's plenty of that in the marketplace. Anyways, I'm tired. I need to get more stuff done, and I gotta eat. But I wanted to show you this, guys, before I send it off to Mr. McCartney. Thank you very much for your faith, and I think when we get these, with inflation and everything like that, they'll end up retailing for about $250, which I think is still cheap. And you're gonna see these next couple of shipments come in that George Campos from Lord of Bass is coming in. Prices are gonna come up. They're gonna go up. And again, it's like you go, well, you know, inflation's not real. It isn't. And everybody is gouging everybody. But the problem is when you buy stuff from another company, you end up suffering the same consequence that the end user is, which is that stuff costs more and you can't find it anywhere else cheaper. So inflation is real. Is it really a product of supply and demand? Absolutely not. It's all artificial. It's all bullshit. But right now, whenever I've been fishing around on Alibaba for vendors, some of them are quoting high, especially for batteries right now. I'm like, or in supercapacitors. I was like, no, go fuck yourself. Like, that's a crazy price. I'm not paying that. And you get better deals from like that's from stuff that's already here, even if it's used. It's still a better deal, like from battery hookup. So, but nobody in America is building this for this price, and so we just got to import. That's how it goes. But I want all the motors that we're going to import to have the bolt system, just because you cannot trust the glue. It's epoxy. And I'm done. I saw that big time. This was probably, 2, 3, even 4 years ago, with a couple of batches that came from Lord of Base. And again, it's not them, it's the factory. And I talked about this in one video, which is what they did was they treated the backside of the top plate with grooves. They machined in some grooves. And I've made fun of like the one that Sundown used, their build house. It like stamped like a diamond plate, and it wasn't very good. It was like really uneven, which I thought was funny. But most of them that do the grooves is to make more surface area for the glue to adhere to. The problem is that they then plate it, and so it's like gluing to powder coat or gluing to spray paint on the soft parts. Like, it's only as strong as the bond of the paint, so it's really dumb. And so to avoid, because I did talk to China about, I said, hey, can you prep the back? Like because when I do them, I grind them. And then they actually sent me pictures of their grind job, and it was like a shitty grind job. And I was like, okay, no, we got to avoid that. So again, it's not that this makes for better quality. It does, but not because China wanted to. Does that make sense? So the whole idea is so that it doesn't fucking shift. And that's the only way to do it, is really just put bolts. 1, 2, 3, or 4, or whatever it is. So, but that's what I'm going to import. And I'd love to have you guys part of that. And it's going to be a great little product. Unfortunately, there's no other deals for like dealers and things like that. The whole point is to raise the money that we need in order to meet the minimum order quantity. But I do want to keep something on Google Docs where you guys can like, you go, oh, so-and-so is getting so many pieces or whatever. So I just wanted to kind of be open source so that you guys can share the information. And yeah, I think this is really going to be badass. So it's good for probably right around 2,500 watts RMS. And I like that it's taller so that you can use longer coils. So you can use it with a TI frame or another frame that has a large suspension, like a 10-inch spider, 9 1/4 spider, whatever it is, 9.2. And it will be very, very nice. This is the motor that I wish Tilo had used on the Audio Pulse Revo. Instead, he used the regular TC9 and a short coil, but then he used the TI frame. I was like, that's a fucking waste. And then on the next level up, which was the Axis, he used the old LA frame, which I thought was a mistake. There's problems with that one. But, whatever. Tilo was working with probably the supplies that he had and was trying to make it work. And he was also, like, that was like post-bankruptcy and all that kind of stuff. So we're starting fresh. Again, I want to do this now. The Chrome version, we'll probably do about maybe 2 batches with Chrome until we see any problems. Like I said, I was there in 06 when I met David. I always forget David's name. David Moore of PSI, when David was the builder for RE Audio. And they had to send back several pallets, like 4 pallets of motors that the plating was flaking on. And that's why everybody switches to the black anodization. So, what's funny is I when we do the Replicant brand, which is, again, it's basically doing, I don't want to call it knockoffs. They're replicas. It's basically, it's supposed to look like the original product, but be better. So, and it typically, sometimes I get these collector guys that want something that's exactly like the original. I'm like, no, you're dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. And, and you also entertain, and I don't want to fucking cater to their insecurities. That's not what I do. I want to push you into a better life, push you into a better product. So, and I'm doing it and I'm in charge of it. So that's how that goes. But, let's see what else. I think that was it. But I wanted to show you this motor before it goes. I was supposed to ship out today, but we ended up getting busy with the recoil stuff. And again, we're still looking for people. We still need some hands. They'll be starting tomorrow morning at 7. Again, it pays $25 an hour, cash daily at the end of the day. We're looking for smart, capable people that want to make some cash quick. And then it also works as sort of like an interview if you want to be associated or affiliated. I would love to say that you can actually get more if you take product, like at dealer price. But I don't want to speak for the guys at Recoil. But that's what I do. Personally, that's what I do, because the product is more valuable than the money that they give me that I would use to buy it anyway. So if they can give you more, like total, like let's say you worked whatever 8 hours, and so that's like what, $200 or something like that. So instead of taking the $200 cash, you're like, okay, let me get dealer price on $200 worth of equipment, and then you use that to then go make $300-400. See how that works? You make more, but you got to go through more steps. So, and that's how we do our apprentice program here. That's the only way for me to get you the maximum amount of value with the minimum amount of work. Otherwise, if you just work for a wage, it puts stress on your employer to try to meet payroll and things like that. And I'm so small, it's just me. I can't really do that. So, but let's see. I'm going to post the gap dims. Yeah, and I want to go with again what's popular right now, and a lot of coil configurations that already exist, like the coils that Loader Base already uses, or even maybe some other designs that I have. I did get in the coil samples, which I haven't even gone through yet, which is these guys. This is the one I wanted. Yeah, and this is, I think, let me see. They say D1, but they're not. They're single. Yeah, 70 millimeter. So that's plenty long. And then it'll still work in this motherfucker, and I don't want to scratch it up. It's so fucking heavy. I don't know what the ounce of the magnet is, by the way, so don't ask. Yeah, that one works great. And that's what I want to sell to you guys, is single voice coils. Number one, because you can double up the leads when you go out. See, that's how most leads come. And then what you do is you tie these together. So now you have more leads in parallel. So your leads are not going to burn up, like ever. So your coil will burn, like, you know, David did on this one. You just colored it. But there's not enough mass here. There's not enough material here. The coil isn't large enough. And so that's what helps with the power handling and abuse, is having more thermal mass in the coil. That's why overhung always beats underhung. It's not about performance. It's not about linearity. It's about power handling and abuse. So this one is actually aluminum, I can tell. And we went with a larger gauge. This one is 1 ohm single voice coil. Fuck it, I'll post the parameters on this. And this is the coil that I want to use for this one. So there it is. That's what it looks like centered. And so that's right there. That's X max. And then that's bottom out. So it still gives plenty of room to play for plenty of excursion. Again, 70 millimeter. And then we're doing this in a single 1 ohm and a single 2 ohm. And when we order I'll probably order the parts, because I probably can't afford to buy top assemblies that are already assembled. And I don't know what size you guys want to make these either. You know, these will make great 10s, 12s, 15s. Actually, let me grab a frame real quick, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I got them. So here's the 10-inch TI frame. I think this one we modified. I had them add the hole patterns at the shop, and then what we can do is get these added at the factory, so that way, again, I want stuff out there. I want it as open source as possible. I also want it to have a really long service life. So even though, you know, you're only going to make the woofer once, in the future, people that will own it will be able to recone it if they know how. If they don't know how, then there's nothing you can do about that. But that's what it looks like with the 10. Just to give you an eyeball view of that. And then here's the 12, and this is Scott's version, which is the 6-spoke. I like it because it's stronger. It also looks better. they don't give so much room on the terminal part, and these become very fragile and vulnerable to, you know, karate chops, hiya, and where they just break. So again, when you guys are mounting these in boxes, make sure your terminals are left, right, not up, down, because I've done it myself where you're putting it in the box and then you're like, oh, I gotta drop it for a second, and then the MDF of the enclosure just chops those, and then you're like, you're fucked. So this one I have modified to add the 5-inch pattern, but it again, it has the 135 bolt pattern, which I line up. Look at that, 135 millimeter. So, and it's also accessible in the window, so it is removable without any modification on this end of the shipping manufacturing process. So, but that's what it looks like. I think it looks beautiful, and that's on par with like a 13W7. So if you want to be conservative, you can say, well, since it's a 12, let's compare it to a 12. Well, the 12W7, there you go. You know what? Let me get the fucking 12W7. And people are like, how come you always pick on JL? And I'm like, because JL is the most expensive brand, and it's very, very popular. So, and I do it for a couple of reasons. Number one, to show you that JL is not what you think it is. So I have this discussion with my wife about her dad. Her dad wasn't the guy that he sold her on. And, you know, he kept everybody in the dark and, you know, manipulated the shit out of them. And that's not good. And that's what JL is doing to you because you don't know any better. It's just like with Apple products, you know, Apple computers. Same thing. It's just a computer. It's not special. It's not fucking magic. They don't use magic hard drives. Stop being an idiot. You're just paying too much for this. So let me grab the other motor so I can show you. You know, actually I have this 12W7. So it works, but I think it's been operated on, and it's actually worth more to me in parts. So I'll actually cut the spider. The coil's good. I'll sell the coil and cone assembly with the terminal for probably almost $100. So, and then the frame, $50, and then the motor I'll use for something else, for another project altogether, and make something else out of it. So, but there's your comparison. $1,200. Motor alone for $150, and then let's be a little conservative, or actually, you know, a little spendy. Let's say $150 or even $200 for a top assembly. So $200 for a top assembly plus $150, so that's $450. Is that no? $350. Fuck, that's cheap. And then so you get it for $350 completed, shipped to your door, or you know, we can ship to your client, and then you're selling it for $700. So it outperforms this big time. You still make your full 50 points markup or 100 points markup, depending on how you're looking at it. And it's better. It's better than this, leaps and bounds. It's got removable top assembly. So when you buy the motor and you want to, let's say you want a SPL setup for the weekend, you just change the top assembly for your SPL setup, which is just a stiffer spider pack and maybe a stiffer surround. Or if you want to change it to a 15, you just change the top. And again, this is not proprietary. This is all just open source availability of parts that I've sort of discovered and exploited. And again, it's mostly because I'm poor and I want high performance stuff for really cheap, and I'm not alone. So, but yeah, so there it is. These are, I think, 1.25 inch, and then these are a 3/4 inch each one. So a lot more ferrite, bigger top plate. They got that weird microphone looking. Here's it. Oh, here it is. This thing, which again, they probably should have done a different type of cut. There's a plug there to force the air to come in through the side, which is fine. But that may cause chuffing. There's some other issues. Again, I talked about it, but again, once we get the Replican motors coming through, and again, this is all good news for you. Do I benefit? Yes, of course I do. But I'm the one with the ideas, and I'm the one fucking putting this on my credit cards. So, but I think this is going to really be a really great project for you guys to really get a step up and not have to be a dealer. If you are a dealer, though, you definitely get the protection of having a dealer, and we will honor, if you become a BlackJack audio dealer, we will definitely honor the sales in your state or your territory, whatever you've bought into. Again, we're selling those. Right now, my first dealer is having a hard time because he's never been a dealer, and I've never had a dealer. So we're both adjusting our expectations on what's possible, what he thinks he deserves, what I think I deserve, that sort of thing. It's a little weird, but we're getting there. And again, this is all just me. It's not like some big corporation or group or team of people. And I'm also doing stuff that nobody else has done. Nobody would dare sell this for $350 shipped. Nobody. But that's the opportunity that you have, and that's what I want to do. So $150 shipped on the motor, and then we can do a top assembly that's already assembled, ready to go. 3-year warranty for $200. So that's what we can do for the pre-sale. Yeah, in fact, that'll help raise the funds for this, because we can make these here custom with your choice of Gonzo cone, or maybe something from Lord of Bass or whatever. That's fine. But yeah, let's do that. $150 for the motor pre-sale, and then $200 for the top assembly. We'll do $200 on either the 10 or the 12, and then we'll do let's do $240 for the 15, and $280 for the 18, if you guys want to do an 18. Because again, it doesn't really cost that much more. And again, I there is a chance for me to make more money, but I don't want to really make more money. What I really want to do is build a network and a team of guys that can help me pull this off. Dude, we can completely upset the whole industry and dominate them from the beginning. Chick-fil-A has done the same thing, and if you listen to Alex Hermosi on how they did it, it's fucking amazing that they did it in plain view of everybody, with Burger King and McDonald's being the most dominant players. Every night, Chick-fil-A has a line around the store for hours and hours and hours. It's amazing, and they cannot move enough chicken, and they're closed on stupid Sundays. So anyways, but they also hate gay people, so that's whatever. Oh, what did I say? No. No, they hate Jesus. That's right. Because Jesus was Jewish and he took Saturdays off, right? Anyways, I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. If you have any more questions, just text me direct. Make a short introduction. Give me your phone number, or actually you'll text me and I'll get your phone number that way. Let me know your shipping address to make sure that we service your area, and I'll add you to the phone. This is the only way that I can do it until I have it automated with a website. And again, I'm still trying to build a website, but the problem is everybody's got they're ready to put their thumb in my pie and my butthole, and I'm not a fan of that. And I don't want to team up with like Shopify or some of these other ones that offer you a free website, but then they stick it to you in the end. Like eBay. eBay is the worst. PayPal is the worst. I had a guy do a $300 sale the other night. $10 in fees. $10. That's insane. Just again, that's why we want to do Cash App, and we would love to integrate Cash App into the website, but we don't know how to do that. So we may have to do something like Google Docs, where you just it'll be easy to load. You can take it with you, and you can shop offline without having to be online. And then you can also scroll through things. And again, I got to figure out how to host the pictures and things like that. So maybe if we do it in a compact way, that we can get Google to do it for us, which is what I'd love to do. And if somebody knows how to do that sort of thing, I would love your coaching. So anyways, I love you guys. This is the GONZO Jr motor. We're going to market it as the Jacks. So Aces is the bigger one. Jacks is going to be the in-between. And then under the Jizzler brand, this is going to be called the Jizzler, after my buddy Joey that spent some time here. That's what we called him, the Joey the Jizzler, because he was just like, he's short and he's my little friend, and he just loved it. It was great. So this will be the Jizzler under the Jizzler brand. Again, it won't be branded. It'll come with decals or some sort of way to brand it. As far as boots go, I will ask. Again, we will just do a generic boot, and then if you want to do something else, I don't want to even brand that, because again, you're looking at, I want these products to be based on performance when you resell them, not on the brand, which gives you guys a lot of freedom. You go, well, then people don't recognize the brand. I go, they will recognize the sound of being loud and clear and awesome, and also, again, affordable. All you got to do is be cheaper than the shop. So there's always a shitty shop in every little shitty town across America. All you got to do is be cheaper than that guy. And then you will dominate the audio in your area. And then as you grow, you can afford to buy more product, and then you can do your own marketing and all that kind of stuff. Again, that's what it costs to build your own brand. So somebody was making fun of me the other day about how MB Enclosures has like whatever, he has like 15,000 or whatever, 20,000. Let's say he has 20,000 followers. And I was like, yeah, because he's a purveyor of bullshit. And people always want to buy the hype over the real thing. And also, I decided not to do anything until I had 1,000 subscribers before I did anything. And then I started doing the videos. And then that's when Parker Mayer, or Uncle Parker, decided to just up and steal the brand that I've been working on for 20 years. And then, that put some fire in my belly. And I'm like, I just wanted to completely dominate her and fucking teabag the shit out of her. So, and that's what I've done. And I want to thank you guys, and I'm very thankful for the help and the support that you guys have done. Again, until I can get this loan and until I can actually hire some employees, it's going to be a little sticky. And, I wake up every day and try to work as hard as I can. And I can't always I can't even get all the orders out. And then after I make the deadline for UPS for the shipping in that day, then I eat dinner, and then I come back out here and I build. And I build till about like midnight, 1 or 2 or something like that. And then I crash and do it all again. So again, it's only just me, but if your patience and support, I really love you guys. And I really want to turn this into something that you can do at home so that you can be with your families. I don't see anybody doing that. I don't see any church doing that. And that's what I can give to you guys. And that's what I want to do. So I hope that makes your day. I hope you feel inspired to know that you don't have to do this. You don't have to pay this plus tax on some bullshit. You can get this whole thing for $350 shipped, and then resell it. Shit, even if you sell it for $5, fucking that's cool. But if you can sell it for $1,000, that's even better. Again, that's on you to promote your brand, whatever brand you want to promote. I'm not always a fan of you guys promoting the brands that I come up with. I really want you to come up with your own brand and then use me as a stepping stone. Scar did the same thing. Scar had Jacob at Sundown build them the first drivers that they built. And then when they realized that they could, they had 40 grand to spend, they're like, fuck you, Jacob. We can just go to China ourselves. And China was like, yeah, welcome. And that's how Scar became Scar. Scar is now one of the top selling audio brands. I think it's the top selling audio brand on Amazon. I'll get into that later. Anyways, love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.